Hello and welcome to our first episode of Talking Smash. This is awesome to be a part of, guys. We've got our first, this is basically essentially your destination for all things Smash Bros. In news, in personality interviews. It's something that's going to be fleshed out as we move along. If you follow me on HCS Weekly, you know we always start with the news segment and then we move on to like tech skill, trick jump stuff. A lot of that stuff is going to be built out into this show as well. But today we're going to kick it off with the interview. And this man, you all know this man, a massive personality in Smash Bros. Both as a player, as a caster, as a tournament organizer. He works for Twitch. I am so excited to welcome D1 to Talkin' Smash.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for having me, dude.
Man, thank you for coming on. Like between the job at Twitch, the content creation, your appearances at Smash events, you have to be so busy. Like, how do you get time for this? And sorry, real quick, I'm hearing myself. I think on your end, it's like echoing through.
Oh, okay, no worries. I think I'm gonna lower the volume, and I should actually use headphones to make this even.
Oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah,
that's definitely gonna.
I just looked at you and I noticed you're using headphones, and I'm like, you know what, headphones, let's remedy this situation ASAP because we have a lot to cover.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. You have been around for a long time too, man. So I was saying you must be such a busy guy. Thank you for taking the time to do this. So what I want to do is, because you're a massive part of the community, you've been here for over a decade, not only as a player, but a commentator, or not only, I guess, as a commentator, but a player as well. Your first event on record goes all the way back to 2006 MLG Orlando, but I'm pretty sure you've been doing stuff even before that. So what I'd love to know is when did it all begin for you? How did you first get into Melee? And at what point did you make that transition from being just interested in Melee to wanting to go to actual events?
All right, cool. I just realized, so I didn't even get a chance to cover the first question that you had with regard to all the things that I do in Smash. How am I able to actually stay on top of everything? Honestly, it's love for what I do and just understanding proper time management. You know, like if you actually love what you're doing, you're gonna find ways to be able to just like make time for everything during the day. Like when it comes to my actual schedule at Twitch, from like 9 to like 5 p.m. That's purely dedicated to me as a Twitch employee. Then from 5 to 9, I usually leave that time for like normal interactions with human beings. Of course, that's funny the way I said it. But anyway, yeah. And then from 9 p.m. Up until the time I go to sleep, that's when I usually stream, right? So I also use Google Calendar a lot. Thanks to Twitch, they taught me how to use Google Calendar.
Right.
Like I never used to use it that much, and that's basically it. You know, just understanding that if you want to get things done, you kind of have to understand. You kind of have to set aside time for all the different things. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to do this thing and then haphazardly do it whenever. Set aside the time. Understand. Okay, I'm going to have this meeting at this time. I'm going to go do this appointment at that time. I'm going to probably edit this video for this amount of hours. Make sure I stay within that block of time. You know, things like that. If you keep practicing it, time management, I feel, becomes just a normal way of life for you if you, if you really work hard at it.
But thank you for even answering that, because I didn't really even phrase it as a question. That was my bad. But thank you for giving me the insight there, because yeah, no, it's okay, because honestly, that's huge. Like when you're passionate enough about something and you got so many responsibilities on your plate, eventually you got to figure out how to manage it all. So Google Calendar is the strat that I need to get down, basically, because I'm starting to get super busy and I'm trying to figure out like how do I manage my time properly. Like Google Calendar, that's one way, but you're right. You need to have a set schedule for yourself that you stick to so you can accomplish all of your goals. And it had to start somewhere for you, right? So now, before the Google Calendar, before you had any of the organization, how did you first get into Melee? Where did it all begin for you?
Let's see. So getting into Melee, I actually was a fan of Smash Brothers since '64. Okay. Prior to the game releasing, I never quite liked playing conventional fighters. Soul Calibur was actually the first ever fighting game that got me into competitive fighting games. But prior to Soul Calibur's release, I enjoyed Super Smash Bros. In 1999. And even before the release, like I said before, I was on the IGN boards wishing that one day there would be a fighting game that I felt was actually, let's see, what's the word? Just like intuitive. I felt like a lot of the controls were really hard they weren't as accessible. Yeah, an accessible fighting game for newcomers. And Smash Brothers was that for me. Like if I tilted in whichever direction, I could like attack in that direction, you know, like when you think of like down tilts and smashes, well, tilts and smashes, right? They all make sense for the most part. Mm-hmm. And the moment the game got released, I remember I was so addicted to it. I didn't like playing with items. Immediately out the gate, I actually stopped playing with items with my friends. Yeah. Captain Falcon, Mario, and Star Fox were my favorite characters. Moving on to Melee, I remember in 2001 when the game dropped, I got super excited to hop in a car with my friend to Toys R Us, and we immediately went to the Kings Plaza Mall in Brooklyn, New York, to get a copy of Melee, and it was super duper dope. Like the moment I got the game, I picked Sheik, and I was just forward smashing on Termina Bay, and dude, I thought the move just had a sick sound effect, and it was like doom doom every time.
Yeah, it's like a double hit too. They never had double hit moves up until that point as well. Like Melee kind of introduced the. I mean, like it comes out as one, but it just it takes the two hits. But yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's like super cool, right? Yeah. And now, as far as like competitive Smash Brothers is concerned, I remembered getting into competitive Smash around late 2004, right after getting blown out when I played at my first Soul Calibur tournament. Okay. So when I got into Soul Calibur competitively, prior to, I think it was like around 2003, I was playing the game on the GameCube, right? Mm-hmm. The GameCube version, and I realized that the competitive scene for that game plays strictly on PlayStation 2. So in order for me to enter tournaments, I had to relearn how to play the game on a PS2 controller. True. And I was like, all right, cool. I guess we'll just figure this out. And you know, it was really hard. I didn't really feel like the controls, you know, like going over from GameCube to PS2 was difficult for me. And why? Because of the fact that you know there's an analog stick, right?
Right.
When you play on the. By the way, this is not pre-recorded. Anyway, so like
for anybody who isn't currently in the chat, yeah, we can interact with you, and we might have a Q&A depending on how things are going and how long I take your time here, but I'm open to it as well.
All right, let's keep going.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So like I'm playing Soul Calibur, and going from analog stick to the PS2 D-pad was actually kind of difficult for me. You know, I was like, wow, you know, sliding my fingers across the D-pad buttons on the PS2 controller, it kind of hurt a little bit. It took a while for me to get used to. In any event, once I did get used to it and I entered the tournament, I kind of got washed. It was tough. Decided, you know what, let me check out the general discussion forums for Soul Calibur, and I came across MLG footage for Melee, and I was like, what? Melee has a competitive scene, and I remembered playing it as much anymore and was more focused on Soul Calibur. But the moment I saw that, I was like, wait, these guys are moving really fast. What are all these crazy moves? Fox's reflector is an attack. And at the moment I saw that, I was like, all right, time to get knee deep into this. And I entered my first ever tournament at on February 2005. It was called DA's Gauntlet. Sadly, there's so many threads of a lot of us old school players entering tournaments with results from way back when that got lost. You know, because like a lot of the data, a lot of the data on Smash boards got lost back then, and because of that, it's hard. Like we didn't properly archive a lot of the results. We just had threads, right, with results like for Melee and even for like Brawl when I used to compete. Like I reached the point of actually getting to top 10 in the power rankings for my region. I was really proud of that too. I wanted to work my darndest to get there. And yeah, the goal was to actually want to become a pro player. I always wanted to be one of the best. But like, I think the moment we lost we didn't even. I feel like you didn't even ask me that question. But basically, the moment we lost,
go as long as you want, man. Wherever you want to take it. Yeah.
The moment we lost our LAN center called Web2 Zone in New York City around 2008. Okay. That's when a lot of us just slowed down in New York City when it came to competitive Smash. And the reason for this is the venue called Web2 Zone was in a central location, right? It was in a really nice, safe part of Manhattan. Okay. I think it was Lower East Side or something like that. And like all the trains met up there. We weren't too far from Union Square, you know. It was just such a perfect spot. They had all the food spots. St. Mark's was so close by. Me and all the homies, after the tournament was done, we'd go to like Ray's Pizza, we'd get pizza, would goof, you know, we'd just goof off, and sometimes even go over to a friend's house who'd be near the venue to play at a Smash Fest. Once that venue was gone, like less Smashers appeared in that general area, and we had to go to upstate New York, New Jersey, Long Island, just like a whole bunch of different areas, maybe the other 5 boroughs where the neighborhoods start to get a little sus because it's like,
right.
Some of these neighborhoods, they weren't quite like gentrified yet. They were more low income neighborhoods. And because of that, like people have to survive. So they sometimes, do desperate things in order to survive in the streets. But yeah, it was hard. Like I wanted to find a new venue, and everybody was like, "Dang, we can't we can't go to Manhattan anymore. So where the heck do we go?" And people just started slowly like just having private fests at their own place, or they'd have tournaments in other areas, like the areas that I mentioned. But not everybody wanted to go to these areas because you'd have to spend extra money in order to go out to upstate
right.
New York or New Jersey or Long Island, and sometimes you'd even have to get housing because these tournaments back then weren't properly scheduled. TOs would enter tournaments sometimes, and this would lead to things lasting long. Kataro, sorry, didn't want to fire shots, but yeah,
just completely confused the organization, everything, I guess, right? And this is you as a competitor as well, because I guess we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but you didn't start in casting. You were a competitor, and then I think at one point you moved over to Brawl in 2008, and this was when you were really connected with Brawl. Was when you were looking for the venue. I think because I was watching some of your interviews with Zero as well, where you kind of had some of these stories.
Yep. I played Brawl competitively, and around like 2009, that's when I decided, all right, I'm gonna actually take a role, like try to take up the mantle and become like a leader in New York City, because I realized that a lot of people knew me. I had a lot of friends on Facebook and just a lot of friends in general that were in the Smash Brothers scene. So I said, why not use that to promote an event in New York City that a lot of people can actually attend in a safer neighborhood, And that's when I hosted at this venue called the Gamepad in Brooklyn, New York, where I had the series TNA Trips and Air Dodges. Calm down. And also that was for Brawl. I was a hater. Like you could tell I was a hater because I quit playing and then I just called the Brawl tournament Trips and Air Dodges.
You lead into it as a joke though, right? It's like
it was a joke. It's a joke. But in any event, and as far as Melee is concerned, we just called it I think it used to be it was called the Dip series. Yeah, and
I know you have a story about that as well. The dip.
Oh, geez,
sorry.
Yeah.
This would be a whole other. I don't know how far I want to take you into the hole here. Okay. All right.
Yeah. But so I'd say around 2009, that's when I decided to finally start TOing, and I think up until 2012 or 13, I switched venues because Gamepad shut down, which super sucked. It was in Brooklyn, New York, but it was in a nice neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. So we moved over to the Next Level Arcade. Now, Chinatown Fair, which was a very popular arcade for the FGC in New York City, shut down, and then they reopened it, but it's not the same. So like the owner, Henry Sen, he moved over to Next Level. He moved over to Brooklyn to hold the Next Level, to basically have this arcade called the Next Level. Next Level Arcade. There you go. Next Level New York City. In any event, Spooky would host there. And when I noticed Spooky was hosting there, he'd have like a whole bunch of fighting games there. I was like, you know what? Hey, Henry Sen, I don't know. We lost Gamepad, and I used to share a venue with Spooky before. Would you be open to hosting Smash events here? And he was like, yeah, totally. So I rebranded the Dip series to Sudden Death because I didn't want to have to keep bringing up a story of my father and my little younger brother fighting over nonsense. Anyway, but yeah. So like Sudden Death was the name of the Melee series, and all throughout, while I was like hosting all these events, Prague would bring his laptop, and we would use like TO Tournament Organizer to run the brackets, and while we would do that, he would also record footage from the event, and we just talk over it. Never thought it was anything special, but as he just kept posting up videos, and other people kept posting up videos from us casting together at events, they're like, whoa, these guys, we really like them together. And it's funny because, I wouldn't say me and Prague were like the closest friends in the beginning. We were just like, acquainted Smash Brothers players. We respected each other. We were really cool with each other. But the more we started seeing each other at events, we definitely became close friends, and that shined through our chemistry as well, right? Yeah, like whenever we cast it together, it was just like, whoa, these guys, they work really well together. It's almost as if they're best friends in their entire life.
Right.
And yeah, dude, I have to say, he definitely was a big help because I didn't have a laptop at the time. I wasn't the richest kid. And thanks to him, we were able to run my event and also have commentary and recorded matches for these events. And yeah, so big shout outs to Pro because he didn't have to do that. He didn't get paid for it or anything. Just like you said before, this was like a volunteer work. We all love Smash Brothers, and we wanted to keep it alive, right? So through the community's blood, sweat, and tears, we did whatever we can to keep that just the passion alive for Smash Brothers.
So I love that you're the one taking initiative on a lot of this stuff as well. Like you're finding new or like a venues for these tournaments. You're going out of your way, like recognizing that you have followers, you have an opportunity here to build a Smash community and get something going. You actually took the initiative on it, I think, which is great. So so many different like ways that you were involved as a competitor, organizing tournaments, and then I guess you just kind of fell into commentary. And I feel like I'm wondering if I should have. Because I ran you through the questions and now you're answering the questions because you already know them in your head, but nobody else knows them. But what I'm gonna do is go over the one with Prague again, and then you can add a couple,
I can expound
your 2 cents to it. Yeah. Sure. But basically what I was saying earlier was that, one of the most legendary commentary duos in Smash, I thought, was you and Prague. And Tony, you can throw up some footage in the background as well. Because I've seen you guys show the full range, like getting hyped together, dropping knowledge, jokes, laughing together, sliding off chairs together. So I guess the question was, how did you guys meet each other? And then what was that first experience like casting together? You said that you didn't maybe click immediately. It kind of evolved over time, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know I've seen Prague at a lot of Smash Brothers events in the past, and he was just that guy from Long Island that had he was actually pretty sick with Dr. Mario, but he also had a Captain Falcon, and I always just saw him as a really cool, lovable guy. But never quite, I never felt like I was as super close to him as I was with, let's say, DJ Nintendo, Alucard, J-Man Hacks, like the homies that actually lived in New York City proper,
right.
In the boroughs. We see each other all the time. So that's why, of course, I'm close with them. Even DA, right? Like Wes, Dyer, Kubu, all the old school guys from back in the day. Those guys I've seen a lot. And in Prague, I'm not saying that I was like super distant or anything from him, but I just didn't feel like we were as close until I started hosting more events for once I started hosting more events and we started actually finding ourselves on commentary together. That's when I really started to feel like, all right, I definitely feel like I'm closer to this homie. Probably because of the fact that I went from Melee. Once I went from Melee to Brawl, not all the guys that I was really close with in Melee followed me into Brawl. So it was cool that the moment I started getting right back into it, I started seeing him again. And he was a big supporter of my events, which was super crazy. I was really thankful for it, and we just grew closer and closer to the point where we're like, all right, you know what? Well, let's just keep doing this commentary thing, and a lot of people both respected our work. And I just remember the first time at Apex 2010, we got a chance to cast together. We actually coordinated outfits and everything, and they
nice.
And Alex Strife, who was the TO at the time, he mentioned how he wanted us to have a particular dress code and all that stuff. So we're like, all right, around 2010, pre-2010 D1 used to wear triple XL clothing, dude, double XL, triple XL. Because the thing is, I would sometimes ride trains into neighborhoods that were not the best. So I wanted to blend in with my surroundings.
Kind of look the part, yeah.
So I'm just like, all right, well, I'm definitely gonna just rock these baggy clothes so that nobody tries to run my pockets.
Sure.
And the moment I reach my neighborhood where I actually live, it's like, all right, I could take the hoodie off of my head now and let my hair breathe. But damn, where was I going with this? Oh yeah. I feel like
it's casting. I know.
Oh yeah.
It's great listening to it though, because casting Apex 2010. Yeah,
I got you. So around Apex 2010 time, I was working at Club Monaco, and in order to work at Club Monaco, they actually hook you up with clothing. They said if you don't have clothes that actually look like you don't look like you're wearing business casual clothing.
Right.
We're gonna help you get that kind of clothing because, of course, you're gonna be interacting with people that are gonna pop into the store, and we don't want you dressing like they didn't say bummy, but I'm just gonna say it.
Right.
So I was like, all right, cool, and I started falling in love with like chinos and all sorts of different pants, corduroy pants, cardigans, button downs with all sorts of different patterns, ties even. And the funny thing is, I grew up a religious boy who already had like blazers and all that stuff in order to attend all these like different like worship sessions and whatnot. But as I grew older, I started to just like rock more streetwear just because I didn't want to deal with like the wrong crowd. I'd rather just blend in and keep moving, kind of like Assassin's Creed or whatever. Anyway, so so I'm like, I remember the moment I started working there, I'm like, damn, man, I love high fashion. This is super sick, and I'm gonna start bringing that to tournaments.
Right.
And yeah, like Prague, he already would have like his vest and everything. Like we just
and we fly together.
Hell yeah, dude, it was sick. Like and it was really cool to see that change. When we started cleaning up our delivery, and also just making ourselves look more presentable on the mic, which helped make us appeal to sponsors for tournament organizers. Like they, even though they understood that they're trying to appeal to a certain demographic, to have their brand align with what seems to be a professionally ran and well-produced event goes a long way when it comes to selling your event to sponsors to help offset the cost of running said event.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean the timing was perfect because you're dressing better, you're speaking better, and Melee is starting to grow in a big way as well, and it's something that we'll get to in just a second. Now, as far as the casting goes, I mean, I also loved your duo with DJ Nintendo. Like you're great with a lot of people. Do you have a favorite person to cast with today that you say, not to single out? Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, I've been pretty vocal about this, so I'll just put it out there. I think my favorite co-caster at this point in time has to be Keitaro. Like he's just way too goofy, and it helps me break out of my super serious shell, right? Because whenever I go into mic, I always have a goal in mind. I like prior to going to a tournament, I will usually have a stream where me and the rest of the viewers, the viewers and I we'll go over the bracket, right? We'll look at who the top seeds are, what were the previous results going into the event, all that stuff. I want to be able to just lay it all out and make it sound really good and let people understand why the event matters. And then, I'll go into that spiel to let people know, like, why is this such a big deal? Then Qatar just comes out of nowhere with the hammer and just breaks all that. He's like, and that's. But the cool thing is that other people sometimes try to do that, and it'll make me. It'll kind of like. It'll feel weird, and it'll make me sound unnatural a little bit because I'm trying to like I'm trying to collect myself and see if I can fix my delivery after being thrown that curveball. But the way he does it, somehow, some way, makes me not feel uncomfortable, but more. Instead, I just laugh. I just laugh along with him, and we'll have a good time. It's like really. I don't know. He's so natural at being a goofball. He's a natural. He's just natural at making people laugh. I feel like he's a low-key comedian. He's very smart, and that's what makes it really fun too. Like EE, also one of my favorite co-casters to work with. EE, like he's a complete natural when it comes to his delivery. He could go from being serious to on the dime, making you just start like shooting. I don't know, like what do you call that? Mucus out of your nostrils, right? That sounded disgusting. But
no, but he's good. He's so good. He's like explosive with it too. He just comes out with the jokes out of nowhere. Parallels the band.
And of course, a shout out to TK Breezy as well. Like TK, another favorite for me to work with. But I have to say, like out of those three, the person who recently I feel like I click the best with has been Keitaro, just because of the fact that he has an amazing knowledge base when it comes to the game. He lives with the likes of Cosmos, Tweak, and Hakaru, Nakat, constantly being exposed to top level play. So he already understands what goes on in the minds of these players, and he's able to share that with me when we don't prepare. Because
That's the beauty of it. That's when you get the best stuff, though, right? Like when you're just natural, you're comfortable, and it just kind of comes out on the fly.
It's just crazy because like when I used to work with Prague, we actually had to prepare in advance. We'd go over things in advance together. He'd have a crap ton of notes.
I can imagine. I feel like he would. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? The moment he quit commentary, I started actually doing that in his absence. I was like, damn. Prague used to carry when it came to the notes. He would have 2 copies, one for me, one for him. And then the moment I realized, damn, I don't have Prague anymore to do this. I'm just gonna have to buy a whiteboard notebook, get a bunch of different color markers where of course they're erasable, and non-permanent markers. That's what you call them. And from there, I just continued that legacy. I was like, dang, Prague left such a good impression on me as a co-caster, and I'm happy that I'm able to actually try. I can't say I'm the new Prague or anything like that. There's nobody that could replace him.
No, you're man. You're D1. You don't need to be.
But I will say that he inspired me in many different ways to be a better co-caster, and not just the guy who only used to get hype. Like that's what a lot of people thought at first. It was like the stigma in the past over Reddit or whatever. But thanks to him, I made sure to learn like even though your co-caster can already be that guy that's knowledgeable, it's also good to do your own homework and be able to supplement your other co-caster just in case they don't know about something. Like there are times where your co-caster may throw you they'll send a question in your direction asking about a particular matchup or a character.
Sure.
And you better be there, or you better be prepared to answer, because if you aren't, that will take away from the viewing experience for the people that are looking at. Exactly. They're going to look at you and they're going to be like,
these guys doesn't know anything about Smash.
Yeah. Even know anything about Smash. But
Twitch chat, man.
So things like that. But Kataro, I have to say, after that long ramble, Kataro is my favorite co-caster due to the fact that he's a good package of unpredictable knowledge and just like random comedic throws. It's you never know what to expect out of him, which is why I like working with him the most. It never feels like it gets cookie cutter. It's just It just feels like a wild roller coaster ride for the first time every single time. Yeah, that's the best way I could describe Kataro.
Yeah, but it's natural. It feels comfortable, and he brings the best out of you. You said he kind of sheds your serious side. You kind of come in serious, and he helps break some of that and get the goofy D1 out. Because I think that's when you really shine. That's when the best of D1 comes out. And I mean, you can't have a D1 interview without asking this. But there's one phrase in your commentary everybody knows, and that phrase is destruction. Tony, roll the clip. We've seen this one all before, I'm sure.
No one man could have all that power. Oh my goodness, the warrior,
All right, now I didn't get the audio on that one, but I remember the clip. That was one of your longest held destructions. You held that for like a good 10 seconds, but just where does that come from? That the word destruction, when was the first time you used it? The energy, just everything about it is just, it's why you're so amazing at commentary.
Let me see. As far as destruction is concerned, that was something that me and my buddies in New York City used to spam at a Smash Fest if a person got wrecked, right? Like if you watch a match and a person gets beaten, it's like, okay, but if you really
unplug your controller,
yeah. Like if you really just go off stage and you just wreck them even after the fact that they're done, or if you force stock them, or just the manner in which you were to beat down your opponent looked like it almost looked like you could, I guess, mistake it for a Mortal Kombat fatality. Sure. That's when we start screaming and going absolutely nuts. We'll all yell destruction. We'll just yell it really loud at a Smash Fest, even if it would be late night and the parents are asleep at the fest that we're at. We'll still scream it, and have people come out and throw sandals at our friends' head, when they do that. But that basically it just came from the heart, from the Warrior Knight. I think Warrior Knight officially is the person that started it, and then from there,
yeah,
shout outs to Warrior Night, and then everybody else in our circle, like DJ Nintendo, Alucard, J-Man, all of us hacks, we just all started yelling that, at tournaments. Like we'd have our little gang, and then we'd notice like people are getting bodied at a tournament, and then we'd just like yell it behind someone's head, or we'd just like even say it under our breath, like destruction. Like it's like if you notice someone's getting wrecked, like a 4-stock, and the other person's trying to come back, and they just keep getting hit every time they try to press a button. Like we'll literally yell destruction. Just we didn't care if it hurt the person's feelings, because back then a lot of us in New York, we all had tough skin anyway, so that's just we expected that.
That's part of getting better too. You kind of need that. Like you got to get through that to improve, right?
Yep. Because whenever you go to tournaments out of your region, there are going to be people that are going to help you.
Stand behind your head and just make noises, like literally right behind you. Yeah.
They might say you're going to jump, but in any event, dude, it gets crazy out there, especially in New York. And from hearing the homies say destruction at the fests, I just remember saying it one time on commentary by accident, and that happens a lot actually, because there are a lot of insiders that I try not to bring out to the people, but there are times where it does leak, and all of a sudden you hear every other commentator start saying it. Like even like when I remember like my New York City friends, we'd all say "we live in." Whenever you get hit off to the side and someone DIs extremely well, we're like "we live in." No, like we're always yelling at the top of our lungs. That too. Then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of other casters started saying "we live in" when they're on the mic, or "he's living," or "she's living," etc. And even like recently, when it came to the Smash Ultimate Summit, PB&J is another person who says a lot of stuff, and PB&J doesn't curse, so like whenever he sees something crazy happen, he goes "dag, ma," and he doesn't say man, he says ma. For some reason, he swallows the N, so we all type out MAH. We're like "dag, ma," and then he goes "that's OD," and OD, which a lot of people don't understand. OD is I guess short for overdose, but it basically could mean excessively positive or negative. That's like the easiest way to explain it, like extra, So we'll see like someone get wrecked, and we're like, yo, that beat down, not even the beat down. We'll just literally see someone get beaten down, and we'll turn our head around and we go, that was OD. We'll just say it like with so much emphasis on the D, right? It's crazy whenever we start saying things in front of other people in the Smash community, and then they'll start spamming it a lot on the mic, to the point where we're like, damn it, we want to keep saying this, but we don't even want to say this amongst our friends anymore, because they're all spamming it now. Which is why you don't really hear me say destruction as much, because a lot of people used to come up to me at events asking me to say it. And I was like, dang it, you can't just say it like that. You have to be in the moment. Dude.
It's like a relationship where you say "I love you" too much. Yeah, it doesn't have the meaning anymore. Yeah, but I like how it's born out of the community. It's not like there's just one mastermind who's like, "Oh, I'm going to say this on stream," and now it becomes a thing. It's like, no, this is what we say to each other when we mess each other up, and just the caster took that into his commentary. So I love that. It's just you guys are playing, you mess each other up, yell destruction, and now you're making it a thing on commentary, and so many other things like no DI and like DJ Nintendo and all of his stuff too. So many catchphrases that have lasted. Through that. Now, your career as a caster really began to take shape, as your career as a caster really began to take shape, huge events occurred in the world of Smash. Melee makes it into EVO, seeing viewership like never before. Events become more frequent with multiple majors like Genesis, the Big House, SmashCon, CEO, etc. This must have been an incredible transition in like the size of the events you attended, the organization, stages, production value, etc. Was there ever a point where you were like, holy crap, we made it? Like, tell me a bit about like starting with, Prague on a laptop to just professional stages with hosts and production value and everything. Like,
I'd say let me think real hard about this. The first time I actually felt like we made it, I guess, was that opportunity for all of us to get, like, a lot of the Smash members of the Smash community got the invite to go to E3 2014, like being on the big stage right there. Even like myself, Scar, and Prague on Monday prior, like the day that everybody was doing like rehearsals and stuff, we got a chance to actually touch Super Smash Bros. For Wii U before anybody else in the community, which was like absolutely nuts. We were like, whoa, this is crazy. Scar was like, do you know we are the first 3 in the entire Super Smash Brothers community to actually play this game. And I was like, Scar, I love Scar, dude.
Right, right.
It was just crazy to actually have those guys hit us up and want us to be a part of a big production, to show off the new game. And honestly, ever since that, a lot of stars came forth, like Zero winning that particular event just pushed him into the eyes of the mainstream. He blew up big time, bro. It was so crazy that not only there, but like that year for me too, like my socials started getting like crazy. And Reddit, there would always be a random thread about just a thing that I said, like D1 said this. What are your thoughts on this? And every single statement I made, for some reason, just because of the fact that Nintendo invited me to an event, can be likened to something that may happen in the near future. So like, oh, he said this, so this must mean that we're going to get this character.
Right. You're connected with Nintendo now. You know everything, right? So.
Yep. They're like, his uncle actually works there. So yeah, it got crazy. But at the same time, I was just really, really happy to have that opportunity during that week to sit at a table with Miyamoto, Reggie, and actually eating lunch with these guys. I was like, what is this? It was a surreal feeling to see Shigeru Miyamoto, knowing that he's the guy behind Zelda, behind Mario, Star Fox, all these amazing franchises in Nintendo that a lot of us still enjoy to this day. To actually see him right there in the flesh, I fanboyed harder when I saw him than when I actually met Sakurai, and that was only because I remember there was like people were posting things about how they felt like Sakurai thought we were fanatics or whatever, things like that. I don't know if it was a mistranslation, but when I saw those things, I was just like, does he hate us? But at the end of that event, when we finally got to actually meet him, talk to him, we're like, okay, he's actually a really cool guy, and he doesn't just hate us who, like the Melee fans, like the fanatical Melee fans. Yeah. And then, that was probably the moment that I really felt like we made it, just to have those guys bring us out.
Yeah. And I kind of like hear you on the Sakurai thing. Like I know, for the longest time, it was kind of trying to break away from the Melee formula because it was too competitive, too difficult. So, but and you kind of answered two questions in one as well, because I was going to say like that must have been massive for you. That Smash 4 Invitational was when things really like came to a peak and blew up, and that Invitational was massive. You were there with Nintendo, with Reggie, with everyone. So, and that's when you started to blow up as well. Like you were saying, like people starting Reddit threads about you and everything. But literally less than a year following, that's when you landed the job at Twitch as well. Like the Twitch Smash Bros. Partnership, Esports Community Development Manager back in February 2015. And first, congratulations for that role. That's incredible. Like that must have been. Yeah.
I just got full-time last year in June. So I was a contractor for 3 years, but now your boy has health insurance.
Let's go, dude. Let's go. That's freaking awesome.
I'm an adult. It feels good.
Literally, man. Like it's an incredible journey because and this has come from my own experience, from what I've recognized from other people in the Smash community. Is I find one of the biggest things when it comes to casting and supporting the Smash community is that so much of it is voluntary. Like you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears into this, and the work goes unpaid or not well compensated, and the money just for a long time it just hasn't been there as well. But like to bring your career to a peak where you've received recognition on a professional level and to connect that into a job that's directly related to your passion, like that's incredibly inspiring, man. Just tell me about how this opportunity came about and what you do. What's your role at Twitch?
All right, cool. Think real hard. So around 2014, I tell this to my stream all the time. They always hear this story. But 2014 on March 4th, my birthday, I got let go from a firm. I was in the finance industry for a short time, junior research analyst. Right. And the moment I got let go, I was just like, well, it's time to go balls to the wall. And, this Smash thing looks like it's picking up steam. Right. And I think I'm going to just go to PAX and get more connected with the people at Twitch to understand what I can do to help Smash further grow on the platform, because we felt like Twitch was the surrogate mother of the community already, but I didn't feel like they were, I didn't feel like they were as heavy-handed. I felt like with better direction, they'd be able to service the community better. So I remember just like going up to the guys and asking them a lot of questions about the platform and trying to educate them with regard to Smash Brothers. And from there, my relationship with the partnerships team at Twitch just continued to grow. And This was like around spring 2014. Then I went to E3, and the people at Twitch just saw me constantly everywhere, right? They saw me on numerous broadcasts, always using my social media to just let people know about what Smash things are happening that they should check out. Like, just constant retweets whenever I can. And when they saw that, they're like, this guy is literally just like, his whole life is Smash Brothers, like they already had Mike Ross for the FGC, but he was just for the fighting game community as a whole.
Sure.
And he was able to help like Team Spooky and a lot of the other guys, but he wasn't too well educated when it came to Super Smash Brothers. And once I was able to make that clear to the guys at Twitch, it felt like they started to show more interest. Like even when I first started streaming more regularly in spring, like they noticed like my numbers were like crazy, like between like 500 to 1,000 when I would go live. And they were like, all right, this guy, he's definitely like the face of the community. Like every time there's something going on with the scene, people will tune into his channel, blah, blah, blah. And I would always have like different topics to discuss. We'd always do like analyses. We'd also just have like homies over to BS. We'd have direct reactions and, just many different events to keep people abreast with what's going on with the Smash Brothers community. And then from there, I got partnered immediately within a month.
Nice.
Thank you. And then let's see, from spring to summer, that's when I got an opportunity to do the E3 Invitational, going into the fall, where they had a GameSpot.
Sure. I don't. What is it? GameStop or GameSpot? You're the one saying. I don't know, man.
Game store.
It could be either, and I'll just nod my head.
GameStop.
GameStop is the store. Yeah. Sorry, GameSpot is the news outlet. If you're looking for the
Yeah. So that particular store, there was a director that was working there that wanted to shoot like some kind of. He just wanted to capture footage of a lot of people being excited. Just burped. To play the new Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. And they also had like this girl that was going to be there to play as well, Carissa the Destroyer, right? Which is crazy because she was just Carissa. She's there to play Smash and all that stuff. And they were going to play a prank to let people know, like, hey, by the way, we're going to have like this professional play behind the kiosk, whatever. When I got there, and they were like, and we're just going to tell everybody by the end of the broadcast what's happening. And the crazy thing is, before in the email, when they hit me up about the event, they're like, hey, we would like to have you come and, do the announcing, the commentary for this event. You'll be doing it for this amount of hours, and we're going to shoot you, and it's going to be great. And I was like, all right, cool. And they told me the rate, and they were going to fly me over, and I was like, awesome. So by the time I get there and then they tell me this thing, I'm like, all right, cool, as long as you guys tell people what's going to go on. But then later on, they just said, you know what, this is getting so much buzz on social media, we're just going to withhold information real quick. And I'm like, what the frick? Which sucked for me, because then on Kotaku, that was just a big blow up, and on Reddit. But in any event, moving forward, then from there, I think I went to, like, I got connected with Sky and a whole bunch of the homies there. Which was super sick. This was like right before the Wii U version was supposed to come out, because the 3DS version was already out. And prior to that, actually, I've skipped something. In October of the same year, I hosted a last second Super Smash Bros. For 3DS tournament at New York City Comic Con. So I go to conventions a lot, and I started realizing, while I go to these conventions, let me not just go to these conventions to BS and have fun with my friends, but actually try to see if I can do good things for the community, like get in touch with the people that can possibly help Smash grow, right? And I remember running into Twitch employees there. We talked. They loved the conversation that we had, and that led to a Skype interview to gauge my interest near the end of October. And then from there, I had to let them know, like, I had a bunch of gigs lined up. So if ever I wanted to actually be able to have an interview, it would have to be delayed, like, all the way into January, which scared me. That's a risk. Imagine this.
To tell them that. Yeah, you have a huge opportunity. You're like, let's delay it till January.
Yeah.
You might not need me anymore after,
That was the scary, that was a really gutsy play by me. But at the same time, I was like, unfortunately, I am literally booked, like, all these weekends, back to back tournaments. And they're like, to be honest, you're doing a lot of good things for the scene, And of course, we expected you to be busy, but they said that they'll push the interview back. So
yeah, hard to get, man. They wanted you more after, right?
Yeah, I am a big risk taker because I actually thought I was not going to get the job, dude. When I realized that
you're just.
But I told them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But from what you're telling me right now, I mean, you're putting together like a side event for like 3DS at Comic-Con. Like you're just constantly involved, engaged in the Smash community. It literally is your life. Like I feel like as Twitch in that scenario, they'd be like, wow, like, he's so dedicated. He doesn't even have time for things that are as important as this job opportunity. Like, it's kudos. All right. I'm just dropping back kudos here. But yeah, eventually, it came around. I guess January you had the interview.
Yep, I had the interview at January with a lot of like highly esteemed, well-respected members of Twitch, and I remember before going into the interview, I did a lot of research with regard to what I thought was important for Smash just for esports in general and Smash, right? Huh. And what I could work toward, what are my goals with regard to Smash at Twitch. And once I was able to just lay that out to them in the interview, they were like really impressed. And from there, they said, okay, you know what? This guy looks like a person who has a good head on his shoulders. He comes off as a leader, a person that wants to change the landscape. Let's hire him, right? And what the main 4 points that I can focus on was just like professionalism, with regard to not only just like, keeping it clean on the mic, but, just right. Like just the productions themselves. We want to up the level of the quality of these events. What was it? Information, just like having a main central place where people can actually find a lot of information with regard to Smash, or just like finding ways to help with the discoverability of the directory and other broadcasters with regard to Smash Brothers. And even just like, just having a central place for people to find information when it comes to Smash esports, right? Thankfully, we have like Smash.gg. Like the cool thing about Twitch is that we have conversations with many other third-party people, third-party organizations, or people that have third-party products, right? Sure. That can also where they can integrate Twitch into their product, which allows people to, it allows people to not only find the streams better for like a tournament. For example, Smash.gg, if they were to have like GOMO, you'd see like the bracket, and you'd also see like Twitch embed of the video player, right?
You go right out to Twitch, yeah.
Yeah, so things like that. We just wanted to be able to find ways for people to be able to stay on top of the action all the time.
Make it easy as possible, connect it all together.
Mm-hmm. Another thing too is like coordination. One thing that myself, Blur, and Aiden work on is making sure that not too many events are hosted on top of each other. Sometimes you can't help it, because maybe every single year you're only able to get that one vacation weekend that everybody else is also able to, which allows everybody within that region to attend that tournament. So because of that tournament will never budge. It happens a lot for many different events. So I'm not just talking about one event in case anyone's thinking I am subtweeting. But I'm not subtweeting. That's what I meant to say. But anyway, yeah. So as far as like coordination is concerned, making sure that we're not cannibalizing attendance and viewership. So we try to help people like find the proper weekends to host their events.
Especially now that there's so many of them as well. It's crazy now.
Yep, absolutely. And the last thing, what was it? Professionalism, information, coordination, and standardization, of course. So standardization, and that's super easy. Just basically a rule set, right? In order to uphold the integrity of the Super Smash Brothers competitive scene, we need to have a rule set where everybody's basically in agreement with what should be legal and what should be banned. And one of the reasons for this is because you have people who may have like inflated results because of the fact that there might be a technique that's legal in their region, but then once they go to another region, all of a sudden they're not able to play to their best because this particular tournament decides to ban this particular stage or technique or even character, right? So in order for everybody to be on the same page and for every player to be properly to be well prepared for any event worldwide, we usually try our best to try to push for like a standardized rule set with regard to Smash Brothers. But yeah, once they heard all that stuff, they were like really impressed. And I went more in depth, but I just gave you guys the abridged version. And from there, just seeing how enthusiastic I was about wanting to do whatever I can to help the scene and promote the growth of the scene, they were like, all right, well, let's see, we'll just give this guy the opportunity. And not only him, but also the Crimson Blur. So it was really cool that we both got hired at the same time. Well, I got hired first and he got hired second. In any event.
Yeah, shots fired.
But,
weird flags.
Yeah, dude. But he basically helped out with the business side of things when it came to Smash, and I was more community facing.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was like the power couple right there, with D1 and the Similar.
So the result was kind of taking initiatives on those four, I guess, like pillars that you had brought up in the interview there.
Yep, and we're still working on them today. It's not something you can do in a day, dude.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a massive community that's very segmented as well. And I mean, this is something that you were talking about recently, which you have the Melee community is kind of its own community. And then you have recently it's been kind of coming together with Ultimate, and it's something we'll talk about as well. But yes, it's a community that is in a lot of different places sometimes. So more recently, we had the release of Smash Ultimate. We'll fast forward a bit here. And this game is incredibly successful. It's the top 5 games sold in 2018. It comes out December, so literally in 1 month, it's already top 5. A whole new community of players has joined the game. You've got new pro players. You've had the opportunity to cast it and play the game a bit, of course, as well. Now, this is just a random funny clip I saw on your YouTube of you with Piranha Plant. But Tony, feel free to show that for the viewers.
Oh, distraction! Holy shit! Holy shit! Oh, fuck! Oh, shit!
I'm so sad because the beginning of that clip.
Yeah, wait, that was when it actually happened. Yeah, Tony. The beginning was when you actually got him off stage. You killed him. I don't think I saw that.
Yeah. They I don't want to call out production, but production should have showed where I got the double forward air into the self-destruct upbeat. Oh wait, we're back.
This is what we were actually trying to show. This is straight cheese, man. How does that?
Oh my god!
There was a comment.
Yeah,
there was a comment on your page. Here, wait. Let me find it real quick. It was a funny comment. It was just on the video there. He's like, flashy? No. Cool? No. Disrespectful? Entirely. I approve. Yes. LOL. I thought that was good. But
yeah,
man,
I'm so sorry because the person that happened to is actually in the chat as we speak. But in any event, yeah, dude, it was Piranha Plant is such an amazing character, man. In my heart, at least.
Not on the tier
in
list.
My heart, not on the tier list.
It's a beautifully designed character, though.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Amazing, not tier wise, but I love the design decisions they made with that character. They really stay true to the source material when you think about the fact that he's a character that you just should not jump in on. He has like an up tilt, an up smash that has invincibility. And even if you try to jump on top of him, he could spit out that spike ball. And I feel like that stays true to the Piranha Plant. That character that can do a pretty decent job like controlling space on top of him. And he does have a few decent burst options in front too, but they're not. The weird thing is, his range when it comes to like his fastest moves, like his down tilt jab, they're really quick, but he doesn't have the best range with regard to that. In any event, yeah, I was just playing with one of my homies. He always hits me up whenever he finds me in a random Smashers chat. He's like, "You run the set." The homie Keith the Human, sorry, Panda Global, amazing graphic designer, by the way. Please hit him up if ever you guys want sick renders or just emotes. He does an amazing job at what he does. Good friend of mine for quite some time. And yeah, I just randomly decided, you know what? Let me just go for this flashy combo with Piranha Plant, and it just happened, dude. It was one of the greatest moments. I went from hating the character. Let me tell you a short story. So when it came to Piranha Plant, when he got announced, I was super high, no drugs, super high off of the Grinch reveal, right? You know, everybody was juiced. They were like, all right, the Grinch made us believe that we're gonna get Banjo, we're gonna get Gino, we're gonna get
Don't start with me, dude.
And yeah, Isaac. You know, I was so stoked. I was like, all right, here we go, baby, here we go. Then I saw like Incineroar and Ken get announced. I was like, all right, Ken, whatever, I'll take it. Incineroar, to me, I felt like I could live without him, but I decided to keep watching. Then I saw, like, I heard music playing, and I saw green grass. I saw Mario. I was like, whoa, is this going to be like, are we actually going to see maybe like Gino pop up right here? And then I just see the pipe pop up, and already my heart just started to shatter into many, many pieces. Like, if you were to see my heart, you'd probably get bad luck, you know? Like, you know, you just can't, you're not supposed to see a mirror break, you know, things like that. Anyway, so yeah, I straight up just like shattered to the point where I hit up my boss on the work Slack, and I went into a very sad state where I just went into a fetal position in bed, turned out all the lights, closed the curtains and everything, and just went, and I closed my eyes tightly until I went to sleep. Like, I was that sad and depressed that day, dude. I never felt a sadness like that in a very long time. I was like, wow, I'm that emotionally invested in Gino, to the point where I called out of work, boss approved it, and I'm just gonna lay down.
Called out of work to wait, man, just for the piranha plant. Damn, dude.
And yeah, the piranha plant. Oh man, I was destroyed. My soul got ripped out of me. And the first time I saw piranha plant, what I said was dumbass character. Sorry if I'm not saying that. But that's what I said when I saw the character.
I don't blame you, man. Like, it's weird. It's a weird selection because it's pretty much inanimate. Like, it stays in the pipe and comes out of the pipe and goes back. Like, it's not typically running around on its little legs, you know. So
until we saw the direct. But like when he got released and I played the character, I was like, this character's so trolly that I might actually want to pick him up. I always liked having one trolly character to play in Smash Brothers, right? Everybody does. And that character for me is Piranha Plant, and I'm happy that I got over my grievances.
Yeah, but I mean, needless to say, you've been playing the game, you've been casting the game. So what do you think of the game so far?
Okay, so as far as Ultimate's concerned, I think that right now it's my favorite Smash game. Like, I love Melee. I love the engine. The engine for Melee is probably still, if I think about it, it might be my favorite engine whenever I put my hands on the controller, because there's, you know, you still have access to like stuff like shield dropping, which was removed in Ultimate,
right?
And of course, like dash, and you know, dash dancing feels a lot cleaner, and you know, just like certain combos to a lot of combos definitely like just a lot of combos work really well in that game. But then when I moved over to Ultimate, I was like, wait, you know what? This is not Melee, but it's something that I can actually see myself playing for a very long time, to the point where I don't say Melee as much anymore. You know, I don't remember the last time I played Melee, to be honest, which is crazy. Because of the fact that the game is just so good. There's so many characters, and there are combos. There's a lot of great movement too in the game. And even if people, you know, might have some hot takes with regard to the game, that's not necessarily them saying that the game is bad. They're just saying that, you know, open up your eyes. Just like every single fighting game, there's always, you know, safe play and all that stuff. Right. But I still think it's, in my opinion, like the best we've gotten for Smash, and things are only going to get better. I mean, look at that impressive cast of characters that we have, with Joker of Persona 5 joining us too. Really Persona 5 was like one of, like, if I'm not mistaken, one of the games that was regarded as a Game of the Year contender. And to have somebody like Joker join the cast of Smash Brothers, to me, is legendary. It's unfounded, unheard of, and super sick. It almost brings me back to the moment when Sonic joined in Brawl. You know, it's like Sonic and Mario. What? Yeah. So yeah, I'm stoked. I like the game a lot, and I really hope that 3.0 continues the trend of what we experienced with 2.0, where 2.0, Mega Man got hit, K. Rool got hit, but it's not like they're the worst characters in the game. You know, like, but I still feel like the game is really, really good, fun to play, even after 2.0. The fact that they decided to like change up the hit lag on characters' moves, like Palutena. I love Palutena.
That's right, you know, they're really thinking about it. They're actually like, they could make some pretty substantial changes.
Like, she's my best character, and whenever I played my opponents, I felt so bad, because the moment I got them in an air chain, I was like, damn, this is gonna take forever. But they're like, all right, now Now we're just gonna make the change of the hit light to the point where it's like, things just move quicker. And you saw Sakurai already trying to do that with the final smashes as well. So he's keeping even the casuals in mind too. I think he did a decent job overall with the game, presentation wise. Like the music is phenomenal. Things look so pretty. The knockback I love way more now than in other Smash games. It just looks weird to me. If you think about an anime that I always reference, DBZ, when a person gets hit in Dragon Ball Z, right, they fly at rapid speeds, and then immediately once they're, I guess, out of hit stun, they catch themselves, they look around, they try to like assess the situation, see where their opponent is, and get right back into the fray. They start flying right back in there. And that's the kind of feeling I get when I play Ultimate, where if I get hit, whatever, by a move with like high velocity knockback, I fly and I don't feel like it's taking forever for me to fly. I just fly and I'm already trying to get right back into the action and engage with my opponent again. I love that feeling. Like the presentation overall, like I said before, seeing the stock count. Like imagine this: you are walking by a setup, you notice that there are two high-level players going at it, and it's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, it's a fiscal feud that's happening right now between these two players. Oh, really? Sure. Let me check it out. How much is on the line? Let's not talk about it. Anyway, so we look over their shoulders. A stock is gone. Instead of asking your homie, yo, how many stocks each? You'll literally see it on the screen. And that's
2-1,
yeah, 2-1, exactly, right? I love that stuff. So overall, I think it's a really cool game. And I think it does have a nice future ahead of it, too.
Yeah, you're totally right. The final hit, too, when you hit the final hit and they get sent off the screen, it does a little visual as well. But like holistically as a game, it's such a complete package. Like it's so beautiful, massive roster of characters, stages. And now they have the stage builder as well, which you were just telling me like right before we got into the interview. They have a stage builder. It's a leak, but we know it's coming now. And I remember I was listening to Leffen talk about this a bit too, and he said it would be awesome if we can somehow play the built stages online as well. I think there's so much potential there if we can have like a lot of depth in these stages that we're building and then put them in online play and the clips and the highlights and just like so much more replay value. So
I agree.
It's going to be huge, man. It's an exciting game. So, of course, with the explosion of Ultimate came a bit of an implosion of Smash Melee. You could say there's the fatigue over the Puff and Ice Climber matchup. We have Melee not making it into EVO. We have less top player representation, like Armada, who retired. PPMD's been out of the picture for a while now. Leffen hasn't been competing in Melee anymore, etc. So, what do you think of the state of Melee today? Now, I guess.
I feel like with regard to Smash around the spring season, usually like from winter to spring, it slows down, right? It tapers off, but then things usually pick up in the summer. I wanted to wait to see what exactly is going to happen in the summer of Smash before I really give a hard answer on Melee. Like, yes, right now, it looks like a lot of people are airing out their grievances with regard to gameplay that they feel is degenerate, subjectively to them. Because I when it came to Melee, which the Brawl and Smash 4 scene along with Ultimate never really upheld. Melee, I felt like they always had these they understood that there's many different ways to play the game. So because of that, if a person wanted to play in a way that made them happy, they're gonna play that way. Which if that means being more defensive and optimal in your gameplay, yes. If you could also still win a tournament by playing it in a flashy, crazy manner that brings you joy, then so be it. That's one of the reasons why people love Melee, the fact that you're able to play it any way you want. But in this day and age, a lot more people are starting to flesh out their gameplay strategies, and they're trying to be more optimal in their punishes. And because of that, some of the old guard that really upheld that whole, hey, let's not chain grab each other in this Sheik ditto or insert character here ditto. Instead of doing all that stuff, they're just like, all right, I'm just gonna do whatever I can to get the W. And me as a player who came from fighting games, we've had lists of stuff that's of combos where we're like, okay, this is optimal when you want to get the most amount of damage. This is optimal if you want to carry your opponent into the corner. This, that, and the third. Fighting game players, I always saw them as they always were seen as scientists who always try to find ways to optimize the characters once they figure them out. And in Smash, we had those guys. We started seeing that with Mewtwo King. I feel like Mewtwo King was one of the first he was definitely the first instance of a person who would figure out the game down to a science and try to make sure that every time he got his hands on you, you would get efficiently like dismantled, right? Yeah. Like that would be it. He's like, at this percent, this is guaranteed. At that percent, that's guaranteed, and I'm always going to go for this every single time because that's this is my combo tree. This is the proper way to beat my opponent. And a lot of other people started following Mutaking's way of actually playing Smash. Which, I thought that was really cool. I thought it was really awesome to see what things are guaranteed and what things you should always go for, regardless of the fact that some people found it, well, some people actually really found Mutaking still interesting because, I mean, he's using Marth, right? And his Marth was just so beautiful the way he was able to combo his opponents. But, yeah, in any event, going into Melee, I think Melee is still here to stay. Yeah, there might be times that the game may lose popularity due to the fact that there's a new Smash game that comes out. But once that hype dies down, I'm not saying Ultimate type will die down, but if Ultimate type ever does die down, or at least not die down, what's the word? If it kind goes on a constant, if it levels out, there you go. If it levels out and it just remains on a constant, of course, I'd rather it just keeps going up. Right. That's when you'll probably see the people who were super faithful to Melee maybe come back. I know people are still looking forward to hosting Melee at tournaments, at all the premieres that we, like the events that are seen as premieres, right? Like the really big deal events that everybody around the world travels to. Melee is always going to be there. And it's up to the community to continue to show support for it. And I have to say too, man, I feel like the Melee community is being a little bit irresponsible with their voice because, yeah, I get it. You want to be real about what things you think are lame and whatnot. That's the trend nowadays, right? People always want to give their take on a lot of things. But at the same time, I feel like people need to understand the importance of also letting people know the reason why Melee is amazing and why you should continue to stay in love with the game instead of only highlighting and retweeting whenever there's negative attention towards the game.
I get this in Halo all the time.
Yeah, and what happens when you do this is that you attract all those people in media that are just going to continue to perpetuate that narrative of negativity, or whatever stigma that's tied to your particular game. And what will that do? It's not going to draw more people to your game. That's going to give more people a reason to have like some sort of confirmation bias, or negativity bias towards the game. Like, okay, this is why I don't play the game. This is why I don't want to play competitive. This is why I only play Ultimate and don't want to play Melee simultaneously. Things like that. So I think sometimes we need to focus on highlighting the positivity that there is in Melee, and not trying to harp on every little thing that irks you, because even though it makes you look real and genuine to people, at the same time, you could potentially be driving people away from your scene.
Yeah. It is an interesting situation for Melee. I do think, like you said, Melee is a timeless game. I mean, it's been here 18 years and it is still thriving in comparison to like anything else. Nothing else has really survived in the same way. And it's one of those things that never really disappears, right? It's always badass. It's always incredibly technical and requires so much talent to master. So I feel like you said, when things start to level out, it's just Smash Ultimate is so massive right now and everybody is just, loving that. So I think, take this year off kind of and see what happens coming into the next year if things start to level out again. And it kind of takes me into the conversation you were having on YouTube a little while with Salem and the twit longer that he had. He had this whole long twit longer talking about, Melee community voicing their opinions on things and just how certain members are kind of bashing other Smash games. Specific personalities are kind of leaning into that, encouraging a divide between the Melee community, the rest of the Smash community. It kind of relates to that as well. I'm not really sure where I want to take this question. It was just I really thought that you had a lot of good points that you'd raised on that topic as well. Even Salem, who he took it a little bit too far at times, but I think you kind of brought it back and made it make sense. There was this one moment that I thought was hilarious. The stuff that he said about Mango, I thought was hilarious. And Tony, you should have the clip for the moment where he reacts to the stuff that Salem said about Mango. Just show that. I just thought it was so funny.
Done to the whole community. This gets wilder when you remember that he has a fan base that grows with his nonsense when he really should be the one getting the back burner. Mango is someone who constantly drinks and does whatever he wants and doesn't care about anything. People like him are extremely dangerous. During the smash, what the during the during the Smash Ultimate Invitational.
Yeah, so it's a little overboard at times, but there is actually some truth to what Salem was saying, and you did a good job of kind of elaborating on that as well. If you maybe want to share some more thoughts on the whole, you were already kind of like alluding to it with people being a little irresponsible, voicing negativity in the community, and how that doesn't really help us overall.
Let me see, because I didn't get a chance to actually hear the clip on my end. So
yeah,
what exactly do you want me to comment on? Just to be clear.
That's actually a great question. I don't really know where I want to take this. I just think it was a really good conversation that people need to check out. Maybe so maybe it's just at one point though you actually said you wish that Ultimate was a complete package with all the Smash games, and I think that was a good point there too. Is that would be the biggest way to kind of save Melee in a way too, is just the access to the game is so difficult, and it's only getting more difficult as time goes by. You need to lug in all the CRTs and get like ancient recording technology. So you brought up this great point. What if they had all the games in one package?
Yeah, I would love that wholeheartedly. Like you said, no more CRTs. We'd be able to play on these monitors. But yeah, people already found ways to actually be able to play Melee in Japan. But I wish it was just, like we said, more accessible. To have all the games all on one disc would be really, really cool, because we'd actually be able to host events where people can literally just have a Switch and they can have many different setups with different Smash games there. Like, of course, I love Ultimate already. I think it's a great package.
Yep.
But seeing how old some of these Smash games are, the first one being from 1999, and we're now in 2019. That's like, what, 20 years already? Like, I don't know, man. I just wish Sakurai would allow us to find ways to keep some of those old scenes, to keep the old scenes alive. End of day, it would be great. Kind of like Super Mario All-Stars, that release I thought was really cool. It opened me up. It exposed me to all the older Mario games that I probably may not have played on the NES back then, right? But having it on the Super Nintendo, all of a sudden I was like, cool, I could play like the Lost Levels, I could play the first one, the second one, the third one, et cetera, et cetera. So I really hope that happens one day. I mean, a lot of people's wishes got already fulfilled. Like they were able to get Stage Builder. I don't know when we're gonna get it, but we're definitely getting it. So as far as like, Smash Ultimate just getting all the old, like archiving all the old versions of the game, I think, just like we said before, we already hit it. It would make it easier for the community as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, overall, man, you've shown so much dedication to Smash, like just unwavering. You've been here over a decade. You've accomplished so much. What is it about the Smash community that got you to just stick with it all of these years and still keep going?
I guess, let me think. What actually kept me in the Super Smash Bros. Community is the fact that I've met so many amazing people. Like throughout my entire time being part of the community, some people who have become really close friends of mine, right? People that I can even call a best friend. These people have helped me become an even more I can't believe I can't say it, extroverted person. Jeez, I don't know why my brain was having a tough time like sending that signal. I was just like, anyway, I became more of an extrovert thanks to the community. Not saying like I was a crazy introvert, but I had like tendencies of an introvert for sure. I think many of us probably might from the gaming scene. But going into Smash, I got more confidence in myself. Smash is that scene that I felt like, all of us together make it into something really amazing. And if we're missing some of the pieces, the scene might potentially fall apart. So I always felt like I was obligated to give back to the scene that, welcomed me, right? That made me feel like I belonged. And ever since I felt like, the scene was really, really dear to me, I was like, I'm just going to keep staying close to the scene, especially because I've been here for such a long time. And it's crazy how this scene opened up opportunities for not only me, but many different people, right?
Right.
Like we see so many people who are able to actually become like come into different roles, even though they wanted to start off as an aspiring world-class player, right? We see people become commentators, tournament organizers.
Yeah.
Some other people have even found roles in many other places where maybe they might not be able to directly support Smash, but still in some way, shape, or form, they try to give back to the community, in the position that they're in. And I think it all goes back to the fact that we're in an intimate setting whenever we enter events. It's not like I'm playing a PC game and there's a person that has that veil of anonymity that's able to just troll me and spam emotes and say the most hateful, vile, vitriol in my direction. But instead, we're all sitting next to each other and we're clapping back at each other back and forth and laughing about it, instead of feeling like, man, that person who was saying that behind the monitor is so insensitive, and they have, again, the veil of anonymity just keeping them hidden, allowing them to say more than they probably should. And I feel like you get a connection whenever you're able to just sit down. Both players are sitting side by side, controller in hand. They plug it in at the same time. Sometimes people are homies and they'll extend their hand to grab the end of the controller wire for the other person, and they'll plug it in for you.
Yeah,
and from there, you'll have that conversation, like asking a person, like, especially post match, like, what region are you from, et cetera, et cetera. Right. Sometimes they don't even have a deep conversation. You just play the game, you have a good time, you laugh, and you just have a memory of, spending time sharing laughs with somebody, which can potentially turn into a friendship that may last for decades, right?
Yeah.
All that from just sitting down, plugging in your GameCube controller at a setup, and exchanging words and smiles. It's crazy how far we've come as a scene. And I know there's some people out there that probably hear a lot of things about the Smash Brothers community that may turn them away, but they're actually a really welcoming community. It's just like everything in life. Whenever there's one bad thing that happens, that's what people highlight the most. And because of that, all the cool things that the community is about gets overshadowed. So, I just want to continue to be that person that's like, what is it, an evangelist, that continues to preach the good word of Smash far and wide for many to get the opportunity to see what Smash is about and stick around if they like what they see.
I love it, man. It's great to have you part of all this, and I'm hoping that we get to see a lot more of you in the coming months. Is there any events that we can expect to see you at? Like, I know GOML 2016 is about to come up. That's in Toronto. I hope I can see you there.
GOML, I think I should be there. I can't give anything away because, obviously, whenever people don't make the an announcement,
right.
You never know, right? I can't say, but I have been to GOML many times, so it would be really awesome if they give me the opportunity to grace the mic yet again. Canada always treats me well. You guys have pretty good food up there. The only thing I don't mess with is poutine. Sorry.
What? You don't mess with the main thing.
Looks like I'm leaving the call. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just try I'm not a big fan of fries, I guess. And
no, that's fine. It's terrible for you anyway.
Yes, it is.
Terrible
that's
for you.
Exactly why I don't want it. But yeah, dude. End of the day, I'm really excited to go to a lot of events in the future. If you want to know what events I am attending, in the first weekend of March, I will be going to DreamCon by the guys at RDC World. It's RDC World 1 is a humongous YouTube channel. These guys have like over 1 million subscribers.
You said first weekend of March, though. You mean like all the way next?
Oh, did I say March? I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
May. First weekend of May. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's March and May.
Fair enough. No worries.
They both start with them. But yeah, so I'm going to be going to DreamCon, where they will be hosting an event. This is actually on the same weekend as the Thunder Gaming 27K Pop Bonus event as well. And the DreamCon event is going to have their Smash portion on Saturday. So I'm trying to see if maybe your boy could be at that 27K Pop Bonus event. I still feel like 27K is a weird number, but in any event, yeah, I'm trying to see if I can literally fly to Texas, commentate that, and then fly back to SoCal and commentate that event. If I can do it, I'm a monster. But yeah, dude, it's gonna be a fun weekend. Other than that, Prime Saga coming up this weekend. I'll be casting there, and there are way too many good players that are going to be entering that tournament. So I'm going to have to start doing my homework really early while juggling a lot of like duties at Twitch. But yeah, I'm super stoked. 2-day event, this weekend in Southern California.
Awesome.
And yeah, I think that's going to be the main one that a lot of people should be looking out for. But if you guys do live in the Texas region and want to check out DreamCon, your boy will be there, Waco, Texas, for that event. They're going to be so many crazy YouTubers there, and I'm excited to get. Yeah, man. A lot of them like Smash too, so it's going to be a good opportunity to sit down, actually have face-to-face conversations with them about Smash, and see if they also would be interested in fostering the growth of the Smash Brothers community wherever they live. So that's the goal, far and wide, man. Just plant the seeds of Smash everywhere in order to just see Smash get bigger, man. So.
Love it. Love it, man. Literally, just this weekend, no signs of slowing down. That's what I love to hear. And I know I've had you here probably at least an hour now. Time's just going by here. I'm probably exhausting you, but I do have a little Q&A section, guys. If you have some questions you want to ask D1, feel free to let me know in the chat. I'm going to ask a couple of them here. The first one we have is Alex G. It says, how should I bring up the idea of archiving tournament sets for my local scene?
How should he bring about the idea of archiving tournament sets for a scene?
For his local scene, yeah.
Well, I think the best thing that one can do is to just bring over your laptop, if you have a laptop, or even a desktop, a capture device, right? And as long as you have a capture device already to be able to just record direct feed game footage, you'll be able to just have a pass through between your gaming monitor, the capture device, between the gaming monitor and your PC, right? And the pass through will be your capture device, and all you have to do is literally just use OBS or XSplit, and you'll be able to actually fire up a broadcast. Or if you don't want to fire up a broadcast at all and you just want to just record stuff, you can totally do that as well. You can just record matches locally to your computer or into an external, which maybe an external would be a good idea if you don't have that much space on your PC or your laptop. But yeah, end of the day, just make sure to have a laptop or PC ready that's strong enough to actually allow you to record or even stream the direct feed game footage. And it will also be a bonus if you have a microphone, a mic, or even a webcam, right? So that you can catch the reactions of these players. Because let me tell you right now, one of the things that actually helps grow the visibility of one scene is sometimes just even having the raw emotion from the players being displayed as they're playing. You know how many times we've seen people post these rage or salt compilations, or even just crazy reactions to things that happen in a tournament set. There's more that happens at a tournament than just what goes on the TV screen. Just seeing what happens between the players that are playing is usually why I love attending a lot of events live, because you actually get to see these players show raw emotions because they're human, right? They have feelings, and end of day, I think that's basically all you have to do. Just make sure you have the right equipment in order to record.
Great point. Yeah, it really makes the tournaments completely unique when you have those personalities. Agilio 3, D1, what is your prediction for winning 2GG Prime? It's so stacked. Or who is your prediction for winning 2GG Prime?
Oh man, all right. That's hard, man. That's a very difficult question, but I will always say whenever there's an event that has MKLeo and Tweak in attendance, I usually expect it to be an MKLeo and Tweak Grand Finals. For some reason, I don't know, just because of the fact that Tweak has been in a weird slump, I mean, he's been winning a lot of events, but there have been times, he's been winning events a lot in earlier, right? We saw Let's Make Moves. He was really consistent, but
his highs are incredible. He has the really high peaks, right? It's kind of like the Mango.
There you go. He has the high peaks, but then out of nowhere, you'll notice he'll just lose to a player that you never think he'll actually lose to, which shocks the rest of the world, whenever they're tuning in. But yeah,
and then Leo's so consistent as well, right?
And Leo is just consistent.
He's consistency. Yeah,
that's it. Straight up consistency. I remember I used to always say in Super Smash 4 commentary that DeBuzz is the living personification of the word consistent. MK Leo is that right now.
Right.
this guy is, even if he may take second at an event like he did versus Tweak at Frostbite, he is just always sitting at the top, dude. It's either first or second, most of the time first. But who's the player that I want to actually see take it? I'm gonna be real with y'all, man. After seeing the boy just putting in so much work recently, and having tough times against certain matchups, I want to see Nairo finally take it, dude. Ooh, I think it's about time because Nairo's really sick. I think one of the reasons why he's probably been having a tough time getting first place is because Palutena's that character where she's not necessarily like top 5. I feel like she's a top 10 character where, you know, she's starting to get a little linear to some of her opponents. And because of that, Nairo has to dig really deep in order to find ways to make his version of Palutena different in comparison to a lot of others, you know. And I've been getting more and more impressed with his approach to the character. But it's always tough whenever he reaches that one moment where his opponent clearly is just doing a really good job head-to-head in the matchup against his Palutena. Like if they were to pick a character that just straight up makes it really tough for Palutena to get things started projectile-wise, or even when she's on the offensive, that's when you start seeing doubt in the hearts of all the Naifus. They're like wondering, is he going to play another character? Who's that character going to be? We've seen Ganon come out for some events, but I'm still not thoroughly convinced, you know?
Ganon's when he wants to have fun. It doesn't seem like it's the... also just where, I mean, he's amazing at him, but it's like where he sits on the tier list, like it's, you know, it's not, it doesn't look too good. It looks tough, man.
Yeah, it's a little sus. So I'm scared when it comes to him pulling out Ganon, but I feel like he's been pulling out Ganon more. He's been more confident with the character.
Yeah.
But I still think his Palutena is his clear-cut best, and he continues to like get better and better with the character, which leads me to believe that if he were to enter the tournament and go straight Palutena and actually lab out all the matchups that he has issues with, because I talked to him about this at Summit after he lost. He said that he actually thinks he could win all the matchups with Palutena. It's just, you know, it's going to take some effort. And seeing how Nairo like even played Zirsu Samus, she wasn't the best character in the game, but there were times he was able to. She was a top tier though, but he still made her work. I mean, Palutena's a top tier as well. But yeah, end of the day, I think Nairo, he has a good head on his shoulders. He is really good at adapting. That's one of his like best strengths. Like I remember Aussie, I was talking to him recently. He said he actually played Nairo in a couple sit downs, and one thing he realizes about Nairo is that Nairo's that guy that will pick up on a habit so quick to the point where if you try to do that same thing again, he's gonna blow you up for it really hard.
Right.
So, and he's so aggressive with it too, you know. So that's what makes Nairo really scary. But yeah, I think the safest picks are MKLeo / Tweak, right? Yeah. I would really like to see Nairo do well too. The craziest like thing I could say is two crazy things. It would be insane if like Leffen were to actually take it. You know, I would like to see Leffen do well. It would, but at the same time, I don't know. You know, I don't know where he stands. You know, I haven't been watching his streams lately, but
he has the mind for the game. Like you can tell. He's brilliant.
I think he could definitely make it into like top 16, top 8. Not so sure, maybe, because he's been focusing on a lot of different characters that he believes is stronger than Pokemon Trainer.
But he'll jump. He'll get so excited about one and jump to another, like Young Link for a little while, and then Roy comes in. Yeah.
So he keeps hopping around to different characters. Yeah. It also would be really cool to see like Void actually taking it.
I love Void's gameplay, dude. I've been studying the hell out of him. I'm playing a lot of Pichu. Void he's just exciting to watch. Big fan.
Yeah, honestly, I'm all over the place, but I guess my safest pick would be Tweak. People that I would really like to see take a W, like I would tier it like Nairo, Void, Leffen, and the demon inside of me, or on my shoulder rather, wants to see Salem actually start taking things up again. You know, Salem, I would actually be hyped to see Salem do really well, because you know it was weird how at one point I felt like he potentially he was on track to being a heel in the community that wouldn't necessarily be actually like super duper like hated, but he kind of made some wrong decisions which kind of just like made him crash and burn.
Put himself in a really tough spot for sure.
Yeah. I was like, dude, he's about to be the heel. Where I'm like, okay, your takes are ridiculous, but at least we need this for this community. Then after a while, we're like, all right, dude, you might have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a ton of potential at this event. I guess it remains to be seen. We have MN Leech 2. What is your favorite set you commentated? That might be really tough. Good luck.
Yep. Favorite set that I have commentated. Probably. There's so many, right? Mm-hmm. But let me look back, because it's like, there's so many different games that I have casted too. So maybe it's
got to be a melee one.
maybe a melee one. I don't know, because I've had some sick moments in Smash 4 as well.
Yeah.
Favorite moment that I've casted, probably, I guess I'll go back, and it might have been, just thinking, I'll do Mango versus Leffen.
Nice.
Apex 2014 melee.
That's the 4-stock? The 4-stock at the end? Is that what it was?
Oh, there was just dude. I even sung the Star Spangled Banner, the Rockets.
Yes, that. Okay, for sure. That is the one.
Yeah, and then if I were to pick something else that would be like really close to that, me and Kataro casting 0 versus 2 at Frostbite. That was also insane. But then there's also another one. I think like Wizzy versus Mewtwo King at CEO, when Wizzy was playing Sonic in Voldemort versus Mewtwo King. I just remember going absolutely crazy. CEO 2014 Voldemort 3.02 was amazing. Like there were also a lot of amazing sets, but I'll just say for now, do Mango versus Leffen, Melee, Apex 2014.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Okay. Our last question here is Phil CJC D1. I felt like when I saw vids of TwitchCon last year, mainstream games like Fortnite were a big thing there. Did you think Nintendo will try to show off their own games at events like TwitchCon in the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like, when it comes to Nintendo and any other publishers or developers, right there, if ever they want to plan to have an appearance at a booth, like these things take a lot of planning, and knowing that, all these companies, they have like marketing schedules, right? And if they already allocated an X amount of funds towards having a presence for a game at events leading up to the release of a game, I think after said game's release, it looks like they usually don't focus on showing on having kiosks for those games post-release for the game, So I think, like, seeing how TwitchCon had like Fortnite being represented there, I think it was mainly because of the fact we had like a Fortnite competition going on at TwitchCon, and
right.
I guess in order for us to have something like that at TwitchCon, we'd probably have to be like there would have to be talks between Twitch and Nintendo with regard to throwing something really cool for Smash there while at TwitchCon, which would be really dope. I think it would be a really awesome idea. But again, it all goes through many different approvals. It's not only just Nintendo of America, but also Japan and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's always a tough question to answer. But yeah, it's usually on the publishers for them to approve it. End of day.
Awesome. All right. Well, that covers all of our questions. It covers all of my questions. Man, thank you so much for joining me on the show. And just thank you for the consistent time, dedication, passion, and just pure talent, man, that you bring to the commentary and to everything you've done for Smash Bros. You've been killing it. And I'm excited to see more of you.
No, thank you so much. And I'm just happy that the homies at UGC, I worked with them actually in the past. They're great people.
I saw an old show with you as well, actually. You're interviewing Mewtwo King. I saw some of the old stuff. It was great.
Yeah, man, they're super homies. So thank you so much for having me. And I will definitely, like, if ever you guys need me again in the future for updates or whatever, feel free to hit me up. I truly, truly appreciate the time.
Thank you, man. Hopefully I'll see you soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that covers our first episode of Talking Smash. Hopefully you guys enjoy. This is something that'll be a weekly thing. We'll have new personalities on every single week, and the objective is to bring the best out of these personalities. So make sure you tune in, bring your questions, and let's just have a good show. And you will see this start to develop itself over time as well. I want to add news. I want to add, like key tech skill, trick jumps, things like that. So just stay tuned. It's going to get real exciting, and hopefully you're on board with me. I'll see you guys again next week.